Welcome back for another page idea using the 101 scrapbooking ideas and sketches. Today we're going to be working on a sketch from page 11. And what I have going on here is I'm going to completely modify this sketch from the photos, sizes, and a little bit on the layouts as well. So I'm going to completely take it similar direction, but different measurements, different sizes to basically fit my photos on the page. And what I've got here is we have some tags with some ribbon that we're going to be using. I'm going to be using a flip flap in here, and I'm going to do a 6x4 photo, and then I've got another one that's going to be matted over here. I'm going to cut out a circle around one of these little edges, and I'm going to actually use the green blade to cut out on the large circle, and then I'm also going to mat this image in white. That's going to then be displayed up here. I do have some border stickers that I'm going to use, either one or two, not sure yet. We'll see how it kind of all comes together. And we're going to use this sheet of paper and the dark side for some of the borders. And I believe this is the star border punch. So I've got that I'm going to trim on this edge. And then I'm going to figure out how far I have to trim it across. And then the next one that I'm going to use is the cloud border punch. So I'm going to have one coming from the bottom and then another one coming from the top. Using these two, and then I've also got the banner punch that I'm going to use, and then also put some of the enamel stickers on it. And today we are using some of my last pieces and my last full sheet of paper on the You Got This collection. This has been a great collection. I've got teenagers, 3 teenage girls, and so this has been very helpful when trying to put together some of their pages that are non-sports geared towards. So I am going to get starting and start cutting things out and lay out the page, and we'll kind of keep going as we go through here. We'll probably learn as we go on what's going to work, what's not going to work as far as these border punches. So let me kind of clean this up a little bit. I'm going to start with the borders, cut some circles out, and then I'm going to start trying to piece together the page. And if you've never used the Creative Memories border punch before, it comes in a system like this. You just pop in the cartridge till you hear it snap. And in order to set the page up, it has, I didn't know this when I first got it, but there's a black piece that is tucked underneath that helps line the paper up. It can be a full sheet of paper. It can be a partial sheet of paper. There is a post-it note technique that you can use too to try to use up some of the scraps. And then all you're doing is you're going ahead, and there's some 6 little notches along the edge. And for this particular one, we're just going to follow those notches all the way down. And they cut through very quickly and easily. Once in a while, you'll get a little bit of a snafu with some of the pieces that come out. So you have to be a little bit careful with that. But I'd say 9 times out of 10, does exactly what you want it to do. And then I'm going to get rid of my garbage. You could hang on to that, use it for smaller pieces. Not my current plan for this layout. Now, because I've got I kind of have a lot going on down at the bottom, I'm not going to have this sheet of paper go this direction with the stars. I'm actually going to put the stars up at the top. And then I think what I got to figure out is where to cut it. And then I was also planning on putting a border sticker, at least one of the border stickers down at the top, so it kind of gives that layered look. So I gotta try to keep that in mind too. Now let me line this up so I get a better idea where I have to cut it. So it's about, I'm going to say 1 3/4 is what I'm going to trim this at. I'll bring my trimmer in here. I'm going to go this way for my 1 3/4. And I may line it up with the second. You can see there's some that overhang the 1 3/4, and then there's other ones that go right up to it. Okay, and that'll be our top. And then I will have one of those layered on it. And now let's go ahead and do the bottom one. And the bottom one, we're going to do the clouds. I wanted something that was decorative, but not overly decorative. And the clouds kind of fit that bill. It gives a good decorative edge, but it's not as detailed as some of the other cartridges. So that is it's always a win when you can do that. Okay. All right, now I need to figure out the size that I gotta cut this at. And I think I can pop this out, get it ready for my next one here. Bring my page back in. And this one was gonna go at the bottom. So let's line this up so I can get an idea of where I need to trim it. And then I was hopeful to use, I didn't want to introduce another color. This is black on this side, and then it's more of like a white or a blue color on the other side. And the sketch at the bottom, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. So I have some options. I can have it go all the way up, basically so that it covers both of them. Or I could try to layer and do the same thing here. But because I'm on my last piece of paper, I'm going to just do a solid one up a little bit further. And then my other thought was to try to use this other, this is the notebook edge, use it at the top here and then again at the bottom. It's really going to depend on how far down or the size that I cut this at, if I have a lot of room for that extra piece at the bottom. And I do want to make sure that my photos can still fit in on it too. So I'm going to have to figure that out as well. And I could probably get away at cutting it at the same 1 3/4 that I did the first one. Okay, let's clear some of this stuff off. And so let's see what we got going on here. We're going to use this. I do have some of my embellishments kind of laid out on the page too, to try to help with some of the spacing. Nothing is glued down by any means, so it keeps all wiggling around on me. All right, I think I'm going to do the 1 3/4 at the bottom too. Bring my trimmer back in. And then this one I'm going to go right with the larger cloud. Buy myself a little bit of space at the bottom. All right. And then if I put that sticker on, it would go about right there. And then I'd have this layered right above it. It might be too much, which is another reason why I'm thinking I'm only going to put at least one of them will go on. I don't know about both. Okay, so then I'm going to come in and we're going to cut the circles next. We have 2 of them we're going to cut. This is the large custom cutting system circle. And it might be weird, but I do bring in an old cutting mat. I don't want to damage my other ones. They look very new still. Now this is going to get tucked up underneath, so I really just need to make sure that I feel comfortable with the amount of space that I'm leaving all the way around the image. And we're going to use our green blade for this, and then the red will be the white mat underneath it. And I'm gonna probably, not sure where the best place to start is with cutting off of the circle. Let's see, did it cut all the way? Nope, not on this side. So try not to wiggle it till I get it all cut. There you go. Looks like it's cut there. So this will get tucked up underneath. A good chunk of it's going to go all the way to the top. I wasn't sure how far down it was going to hang, which is why I'd prefer to cut more. And then if I have to chop some of it off, that's perfectly fine. And this is a scrap of white. And we're gonna, this circle will probably get the whole thing in here, but we can always trim off the top when we glue it down here. All right, we're using the red blade this time. Okay, make sure that was trimmed all the way. And I have a little bit of extra here. So I'm gonna trim this off. And move my mat to the side. All right, and then we're gonna bring this in here. And I'm actually gonna start putting this down. All right, and as we've got some of these pieces cut, start laying this out a little bit better. Okay, and to help out, I did cut, this is a 4x6 photo, so I did double mat it to kind of make the photo pop off of the page. So I'm gonna start putting things together here so that they don't keep moving around on me. Okay. Oops. See, stuff keeps moving. Creative Memories did just come out with another collection for denim that is similar to the You Got This collection. Not necessarily geared towards teenagers or anything like that, but denim is always a good option to be able to use on some of your pages too. So I'm going to move this down because I kind of want to showcase, kind of bring this back in here. I want to showcase as much of the circle as possible. And then there will be some embellishments. Actually, I had this guy, this little tag that I was going to use as an embellishment. And they've got it going off to the left side. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. I did cut a piece of ribbon that does kind of match the background paper. And I'm going to put that on here. Oops. We're going to thread it through this direction. And then it's going to be a little bit tricky, but I'm going to actually have it come back up through the other side. Kind of like a little bow. Of course, it's always more challenging to do when you're recording. And I'm gonna get my little owl out. Okay, this will help poke some of these through for me. So at least I can grab the ribbon. And you could always use like the tip of scissors to try to help with this. And I did leave enough extra ribbon so that I can clean up any necessary edges. Hopefully it starts to cooperate here soon. Just need to get a hold of a little bit of it to be able to push it through. There we go. All right. And you can always kind of loosen this up too and shape it however you want. All right, let's see if we can get the last side through. See, one side cooperated. Okay. Put that aside. All right, so then I'm gonna just take these are actually my ribbon cutting, or I'm gonna say fabric scissors that I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna trim up these edges here. I'll let them hang off a substantial amount, like an inch, inch and a half, inch and a quarter, somewhere in there. And I did put some enamels stickers down at the bottom. You can see here's the fuller sheet, but I did use these two to put down at the bottom of the tag to add a little bit more to it. And then we've got, so that'll be at the top. And I want to push that back up because I don't want it to touch. And I'll center the photo to the best of my ability. And then I do have a picture of all the girls. This was a soccer team bonding event, and my daughter never dresses up in a dress, so I think one of the girls brought a few dresses, and she ended up borrowing one from one of her teammates and one of the other parents, because God forbid could your own mom take a photo of you. So the other parent took a photo of it and sent it to us, because she is definitely not the girl that would opt to wear dresses, at least very frequently. But the other thing that the club, that their coach does when they all go out to dinner, the girls have to pile all of their cell phones in a bucket, a basket, whatever the restaurant has, so that they are not on their phones and that they're actually talking with their teammates instead of on the phone. So the kids are used to it and it's no big deal. All right, we're gonna put this at the bottom. I'm getting some of them stuck down here. Okay, got this. All right, so we need to put this down next. And I think I'm gonna try to line it up kind of close to how it's actually showing up. And you'll notice I flip between, I'm gonna say, the tape runner and the repositionable adhesive. I try to use the permanent adhesive as much as possible. I did have, I've been scrapbooking for a number of years, and it did have some of my older albums that used not this type of positionable adhesive, but some other brand. And I ended up having to basically reattach everything as I was moving and organizing albums. So I've tried to just limit, just a general practice for me, to limit the amount of repositionable adhesive that I use on pages. I use it when necessary, but I try to use the permanent adhesive. I'd say anything that I used that was permanent, I never had any issues with it. It was everything 20 years later still was attached to the pages. Okay, so we got that going across the top, and you'll notice I didn't put anything down below on the decorative edges. You could if you wanted to, but I don't feel like it's necessary to get that close. Okay, so the next thing is I am going to turn this sideways again. I probably don't need these, but I am trying to use up some stuff, so I'm trying to figure out how do I use them and layer them so that everything is kind of cohesive on a page. So hopefully I don't regret it. Sometimes your best intentions are not all that's cracked up to be, right? And I'm actually going to try to attach this to myself so that it doesn't get placed on the page where I didn't want it, because that's happened before too. And I'm going to try to stay as close to this top edge as possible, which is why I want to make sure it goes down when I put it down, not when the sticker wants to. And there we go. So we got that going across the top. We will have this come in, go up here. It actually looks pretty cool. That'll come in here. We've got the phone photo, and then I do have a picture of the girls eating dinner. And a lot of these kids have been playing together for a number of years. So somebody did like a throwback photo from way back in the day. And it was probably only 3 or 4 years ago. But I was going to kind of hide that in here too, so that as they start looking at the albums, they can do flashbacks of how young they used to be before they were 12 and 13-year-olds. All right, I'm kind of on the fence about this bottom one. I don't know if it'll be too close, but I can always move that too. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing here, is to try to stick it back down to me again. I'm sure we've all had that happen where something gets stuck down and you didn't intend on that being the place that you wanted it. So I'm actually going to lift this up and try to move it up a little bit more. Oops. Hopefully that works out okay. I think I'm going to have to keep going this direction, just based on the design. So this is the nice thing about that repositionable adhesive. You do have a little bit of time to be able to move things around. And I'm only going to move it up just a smidge. There we go. All right, so we got that going on. All right, so then what do we have left? This, we've got the bottom, we have this on the top. We have some of the decorative elements that we need now. So this will be my bottom photo. Now these little flip-flops, what you do is you put in 2 photos, or you can put in a photo and cardstock or journaling on the back side. And what you end up doing is you attach it to the page protector, the outside of the page protector. You could attach it to the page, but then the page protector would have to be cut in order for you to be able to move it up and down. Otherwise, it would just be a static photo. So you would basically attach it to the page. You could have journaling in here. The biggest challenge is just to make sure that you've got the image where you flip, because you could go this direction too. That it's going the right way. And you can always put these as like doors that way or that way. But I'm going to do this direction, and I had a denim one that I was going to attach to the page protector, or to this little flip-flop, and be able to lift it up. So it kind of helps the user know that there is something else there that you can move and view. So let's put this bottom one down. And you know I like to raise things up, so I'm going to put that there. And then this one will just go on. What did I do with that? It does get lost fairly easily. And there is some adhesive always on one side. You kind of got to feel around for it. It's on the back side of this one, so I'm going to attach it to the page protector like this, and then it'll be flipping up. So this one I'm going to put down to the bottom here. but hopefully that's enough adhesive. And I just go like this since I can see where the adhesive is. And I'll push that down. So then when I get there, I can just put the photos in there. Let me put this at the bottom. And then I think in the sketch, it went all the way over to this side. And then there were like journaling boxes and bars off to the side. I'm gonna just kind of, because it's a smaller photo, I'm gonna kind of try to center it underneath this photo. Probably should attach them down first, but that's okay. And here I'm just trying to create that equal distance of space all the way across the page. And this one I'm actually gonna raise up. So this is naturally gonna raise it up. So I will do a couple of rows here towards the middle and bottom. The other photo, I did raise up this, so I'm gonna actually figure out where I want the photo placed and then put this down. And then when I have the photo, I can actually just slide it right into place. And these little tabs, you can use these little stickers, or you can write on them. A date is always a good idea to put on them as well. You could even, because of this, you could put lift me, or you could put something that says sneak or flashback maybe to go back in time. So I've got that there. And then let's see. Now I'm really down to trying to figure out some of the additional embellishments. And we had, where did my scrap papers go? So we've got some options here. I do have this piece of paper. I do have out of some other scraps that I can look at trying to use in here too. Specifically this blue might be a nice one to use. So let's see what we have kind of left over in that jean blue category. Could put some of this color in there too. You just wouldn't see. I think I'm gonna do, this is probably the closest. Otherwise I do have a few. These were from the matte packs. There's a couple of these that could be used too. But I think I've got enough. I feel like I have enough of this jean color to go ahead and I'm gonna punch out some banners. And now I'm using these banners as an kind of all by itself, so I don't need to use the border maker system, if you will, the part where you could put the whole paper in. It's totally up to you, but you could if you wanted to, but really all I'm after is to try to use up some of the scraps and then cut these out to be able to use on the page. And we may have to add some additional colors in, but basically all I'm doing here is I flip it upside down. I see where I've got some space, make sure I've got enough room. I'm not cutting anything off, and you can actually get pretty close. You see I got really close there to be able to punch some of these out. So let's start with 4. Can always do more. And in the sketch, I had envisioned maybe one right here and then something else there. There were some towards the bottom. Now this would be a good place for one that's a different color. I'd suggest something that already is in the same family of color. So I could put one of these down here. So let's quick punch one of those. Use up some of my extras. I think the hardest part is trying to find where you put the paper in this direction. And you can see that that stands out a lot better, and it can be put somewhere along here, which is good. This sketch itself does call for another one. So and it could be another name flag. It could be another decorative sticker. Where's my scissors? Can be whatever you have on hand too. That goes with it. And you can see this one I flipped to the other side. So you could do that too to add a little bit of interest. So we got a couple of them there. And we had the one up here. Like I said, there were some that could go this direction. The other thing you can do too is you can just snip these off and lay it right up next to the photo, or you can overlap them with different lengths. So something like that, like I said, or you could just trim them right off too. So I think I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna add some additional enamel pieces that I've got on some leftover sheets. And so let me wrap that up, and I'll put some words on here as well, words, dates, and then I will reveal for the final finish. I mean, I'm almost there, so stick around for the last showing. All right, that's what I have. There's probably a lot of enamel pieces on here, but I think that's okay. At the end of the day, I got to go back and look and see what the actual date was of the event. I'll put that here. And then I can always tuck in some journaling if I need to, either in here or on some of these some of the hidden spots. So I hope you enjoyed a sketch from page 11. I did have to try to jump a little bit out of my comfort zone and get creative with a lot of the little pieces that I have left over. But join me next time for another layout.